Assalamu alaikum. I am Muhammad Saad and I am a student from FAST-NUCES Lahore campus. As you all know, I am currently doing my computer science from FAST-NUCES Lahore campus. So in this video, as you can see in the thumbnail, I am just going to reveal my GPA for my first semester of computer science at FAST-NUCES Lahore campus. There are about 6 to 7 courses and 2 to 3 labs in my first semester, and I will reveal my grade for each of the subject one by one, and then finally I will reveal my total GPA for my first semester. Okay, so let's begin. Let's see what is the first course, as the same method I follow in revealing my O levels, A levels grades. We will start it course wise one by one. So the first course that comes is Introduction to Information and Communication Technology. It is basically, in short form, it is called ICT, Information and Communication Technology. So this was a one credit hour subject for people who are in university. They will know what credit hour is, and credit hour is basically used to determine your GPA. So one credit hour subject, and my grade in this subject is A, which gives me a total of 4 GPA in this subject. Okay, so A grade has a GPA of 4.0, A minus has 3.67, B plus 3.33, B 3.0, and as you decrease one grade, 0.33 GPA decreases for that particular subject. And this is basically a core course. So ICT is basically a computer related course in which you learn different things such as databases, web programming, operating systems, and all these things related to computer. But all these lectures are basically, this is a subject in which it consists of different chapters that are only of one lecture length. Okay, so there is no flow like the thing we read in in first lecture. It is not always that the same thing will be continued in the second lecture, but there were different chapter in each lecture. So this is basically ICT, and I got an A in this. Next comes our second subject, which is Programming Fundamentals Lab. This is basically our main course for the first semester at any university for CS degree. Programming Fundamentals Lab, it is also a one credit hour subject, and I got a B in this, which gives me a 3 GPA in this. It is also a core subject. So basically, my final exam went good in this, but my mid exam was very poor. That's why I ended up on a B. However, 3 is still respectable, but I am not very much satisfied with this. Okay, so now next move on towards Programming Fundamentals course. This is basically our main course, and this is a 3 credit hour subject. uh, when we calculate GPA, the subject that has more credit hours is has a higher weightage as compared to the subject that has less credit hours. For example, a subject with one credit hour will contribute about 0.33% in your it will continue, for example, 33% in your GPA. But if we have a course for 3 credits hour, uh, it will contribute 100%. So I wanted to say, I'm just telling this that the more the credit hours, the higher the impact on the GPA. So in Programming Fundamentals, I got an A grade, which gives me a 4 GPA in this subject. Okay. Next, we move on towards calculus and analytical geometry. So, computer science degree is loaded heavily with mathematics courses, and the one that is most repeated, it's calculus. And in first semester, we had the course of calculus and analytical geometry. Basically, this is also a 3 credit subject, so it is very important and heavy subject. And I also got an A in this. Okay, so this leaves me with a 4 GPA in this subject as well. So till yet we have done four courses, 3 courses and one lab. Now let's move on towards our next major course, applied physics. In our entire computer science degree at FAST-NUCES, we only have one physics course, and that is applied physics in our first semester. And I got this is also 3 credit subject, and I got an A plus in this. So if whether it's A or it's an A plus, it gives you a 4 GPA. So that does not matter a lot, but A plus seems wonderful as compared to A. Okay, so next we will move on towards functional English lab. Functional English, it is basically a social science, and functional English lab. In this lab, we basically did activities related to English. Some were written activities and some were activities, ICT activities that were done on computer. So labs are basically one credit hour subjects, one credit hour, and I got a B plus in this. So basically, this is a relative subject. There is difference between relative and absolute grading. In absolute grading, whether the paper is tough or it is easy, or irrespective of how the other students perform, you get the grade at a particular percentage. For example, you get A at 86, A plus at 90, A minus at 82. But in relative courses, the grade is, this is basically like the threshold system of O and A levels. So the grade is basically based on the not just on your performance but on the performance of other students. If most of the students perform terribly in the exam, then you get a lower grade on a higher percentage. But if sorry, you get a higher grade on a lower percentage, but if the exam was easy and most of the students performed well, so even if you take 86 marks out of 100, it is not sure that you will get an A. So this is basically the working behind relative and absolute grading. Basically, I prefer relative grading because it is similar to the threshold system. Because in absolute grading, even if paper is hard, you have to achieve 86 marks at least, 86 out of 100 to score an A. But if it is relative and the paper is hard, you may get an A on around 80, 72. For example, I had around, in calculus, I had 67 absolutes out of 100, but I got an A because the average or the threshold, the MCA is basically it is the average of all the sections in which a particular teacher teaches. So it was around 38. So on 67 I got an A. Next, move on towards functional English. This is basically a two credit hour subject, and I got an A minus in this, which leaves me with a 3.67 GPA in this particular subject. In first semester, there are no elective subjects at FAST-NUCES. All are core subjects. Okay. Next, I have ideology and constitution of Pakistan, which is basically an other humanities subject, and it is referred as ICP in its short form. It is basically also a two credit hour subject, and I got an A neg in this. So in this humanities and social sciences subjects, A neg is very respectful grade, because in relative grading it is difficult to get an A or A plus. However, B plus, getting B plus is very easy, and A plus is also very respectable. So now let's move on towards our last subject, which is last course, which is basically Park Studies. It was also a compulsory subject, and it is a two credit hours subject again, and I got a B plus in it, which leaves with me which leaves with me with 3.33 GPA in this particular subject. So these were all the courses. Let me minimize it and reveal my total GPA now, which is calculated from uh, the results of all the subjects. So you may see here my entire GPA: ICT A, Programming Fundamentals Lab B, Programming Fundamentals A, Calculus A, Applied Physics A plus, Functional English B plus, Functional English Lab B plus, Functional English A minus, Ideology A minus, Park Studies B plus. So basically, there are a total 18 credits are 1 plus 1. If you sum this all, it will become 18 credit hours, and the more the credit hours, the more the effect on the GPA. So these three subjects, programming fundamentals, calculus, and applied physics, all of these are three credit hour subjects, and they have a major impact on my GPA. And Alhamdulillah, I got an A in two and A plus in the third. So it leaves me with 4 GPA in all these three. So this will heavily impact my GPA. And other subjects such as programming fundamentals lab, which has in which I have a B, which is 3 GPA, but this is only one credit hour subject, so it will not immensely impact my GPA. So let's reveal my final GPA for my first semester, which is, you can see, 3.76 out of 4. Okay, so it's quite respectable, like it is like 94 out of 100. So I believe that is quite respectable. 3.76. And moreover, as I have listened from my seniors and others people from the industry, it is very hard to go past 3.5 in FAST-NUCES. In other universities it may be easier, but in FAST it is, if you search in Google Ragada University, you will get FAST-NUCES. So I'm very happy with this 3.76 GPA. Total there were 18 criteria, and I passed all of them and ended up with a 3.76 GPA, which is quite respectful. So this was my GPA reveal for my first semester. Uh, we will meet in another video. Stay blessed till then. Allah Hafiz.